Alright, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back again here on PlayStation Source, and I got a little review of a game I've been playing this week and I just beat a few days ago. It's called Forged in Shadow Torch. So it's a small little game, and I figured I'd give my thoughts about the overall scope of the game and how I feel about the game as a whole, because I think it's one of the better games I played this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, of the new releases, I think this is one of the better games I've played. It's not perfect, it's not, you know, GOTY material, but I figured I'd give my thoughts for you guys, because I do think that this is well worth the price of admission and overall just scale of the game. I think it's well worth your time. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But before we get into that review, if you like my content, if you like this video, make sure to please leave a like on the video, as well as stay subscribed to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest and all things PlayStation and new PS5 games like Forged in Shadow Torch. Likes really help the channel, guys. I don't think you guys understand how integral they are. Would really appreciate it if you like the video. Leave a like on there at the end of the video once you're done watching it. But let's get right into it. So Forged in Shadow Torch is a little game here from a developer called TI Games. They are based out in China, and what's really cool about this game is that it's actually a part of the China Hero Project, which is an initiative from PlayStation to promote and support Chinese developed games in other regions around the world, hence over here why I'm playing this game and everything. So pretty cool that they're a part of this whole initiative. Really you know, enjoyed my time with this game overall. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of this game. It is a 2D action Metroidvania game that overall I really enjoyed for a low price as well. This is only a $30 game, and I do think that overall we're going to talk about things I liked about this game, things I hated about this game, but all in all, I think for 30 bucks you really can't go wrong with this game if you're into 2D action Metroid games like The Messenger, etc. Let's start out here with the story. So the story follows a bunny or rabbit, I guess. I'm not sure which, you know, which one he is necessarily. I think maybe a rabbit, but his name is Rayton, who is fighting against a powerful robotic army called the Legion. And the Legion throughout the game works towards taking over Torch City, where the game takes place. And as you play as Rayton and grow stronger in your abilities and all that and get more weapons, you also have help from friends and a mysterious cat as well, which I don't want to spoil too much, but you know, there is a cat that does help you out a lot throughout this game. So overall, the story is nothing crazy, you know, although there are interesting bits and pieces to the story, like including an old friend that turned bad along the way with an interesting artifact as well that acts as a power source. So there are really cool aspects of the story that I definitely don't want to spoil, but overall I would say the story is pretty minimal but not bad, right? Like, there's dialogue, there's cutscenes and everything, but the main grab and pull for this game is definitely the gameplay. That is definitely the key aspect of the game as a whole, although I don't want to spoil anything, you know what I'm saying, but a sequel may or may not have been teased after the credits when you beat the game, so definitely make sure to stick around after those credits roll. You might see something pretty cool there. So before we get to the gameplay, I want to talk about Torch City and the world as a whole in this game, because I do gotta say, man, it is beautiful. I think on Joyclicks Gamescast I called it, you know, like not that great looking overall, but when I said that, I was only in Torch City, right? Like only in the starting area, and that is just kind of looking like, you know, a diesel punk type of vibe, a grungy city and everything. But as the game progresses to the middle section and towards the end section especially, we get really cool different environments like the Western Range, where there's snow everywhere, and there's that type of vibe. There's also some really cool underwater levels as well that I actually liked a lot, that I typically don't like underwater levels in games, but there was a lot of really cool stuff in this game to see and to explore, and a lot of different colorful environments that I think really paid off in the end. So I definitely think that this game overall is a beautiful looking world that they sculpted. And even though they have a great beautiful world, right, like there's a lot of different areas to go to in this game, the one thing that I did not love was the way they handle fast travels with the subway system and the fast travel terminals. I feel like there weren't enough of these in points that I think that the player would want to have there, right? So I feel like if you want to go to a different part of the area, some areas may have a subway system, some areas may only have a travel system, some areas may have both the fast travel system and the subway system, and it was kind of convoluted and hard to really discern which subway is going to take you to where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I misunderstood the whole thing, I'm not sure, but I feel like a lot of times you resort to just going on foot and platforming through these big areas to get to, you know, essentially across the game and everything. And so not the biggest deal in the world, you know, because ultimately that's kind of like the point. They wanted to push you to go back to those areas that you've already been to, but I feel like the fast travel system and the subway system could have definitely used a little bit of work overall. And I also think that I didn't even get to all the areas, because when I beat the game, I was missing a piece of equipment and an ability as well, and there's plenty of different skills that I did not unlock in my skill tree that were still locked behind a just, you know, just grayed out wall. So I think that there were a lot of other things that I didn't get to see in my playthrough of the game that I think really does just double down and show how much they were able to fit into these environments. I think the world is really, really cool and really fun to explore in this game. Now, of course, the main pull of this game, like I said before, is the game's gameplay, which overall I really like, even though I have some gripes about some decisions that they made with the gameplay. But, you know, first off here, you get 3 main weapons during the game with multiple combos to unlock in the skill tree terminals, where you can repair yourself to get more health. It being a Metroidvania game, you're going to probably want to do that a lot, of course, and you will be able to unlock a bunch of different skills for all these 3 weapons that you'll be able to equip throughout the game. And so the combos aren't crazy intricate, but if I was to be honest with you guys, I think that there's something wrong with the combos in this game. I've heard a few people talk about it on Twitter, and I feel like, okay, now I'm not crazy, because I thought I was kind of crazy. Like, I thought I was just tripping, but the combos in this game require very specific timing, where if you're too fast or you're too slow with the combos, like, you're just not gonna pull it off. And there's like a training area in the game that I think was one of the hardest aspects of the game, because the timing is so weird on the combos. Like, it's like they want you to, like, you know, wait until you press the next button in the combo sequence, you know, until, you know, Raiden is done doing his like animation. It's a very weird timing. I never really got it down. By the end of the game, I kind of was nailing it overall, but like early on, I just wasn't understanding the timing of it. And I think that it kind of was inconsistent, where sometimes I would do the timing that I was doing before and it would pull off the combo, then other times it just would not pull off the combo that I was trying to do. So I think that there's something wrong with the combo system. Maybe I'm tripping, I don't know, but I had a lot of other people tell me the same thing as well on Twitter and in DMs as well. But in my playtime, I really didn't find the drill weapon that useful against enemies unless you're using the tornado ability. And I feel that, you know, just there were some weapons that I didn't love overall. Mainly it was the drill. Like, I definitely like the fist and the whip a lot more than the drill, but the drill definitely makes up for it, because there are some useful ways to use it that are not combat, in terms of just being able to open certain doors and being able to travel faster underwater. So I think that you know, it definitely makes up for it. And there's other ways to use your fist and your whip as well to unlock different areas in the game and stuff like that. So they really do make sure that you become very much well aware of the weapons that you are using. And so definitely the fist and the whip were my go-tos. I really like them in combat, and there's kind of like a slowness to the combat that makes every hit that you do very, very impactful and feel very satisfying. I really love combat like that, where, you know, it's not like super fast, and like I like that like super fast stuff sometimes, but I also appreciate a very slow, methodical combat system, and I feel like this is what we have here in Fist, Forge, and Shadow Torch. Really was up my alley, really liking it. One other thing I didn't like in combat was that there are these things called executions, where essentially if you whittle down an enemy's health to a very, very low health bar, you will then be able to pull off an execution by pressing O when your enemy is blinking orange, or just orange, I think. I don't think it's blinking, but this will essentially be just a really cool just like takedown move, and then the enemy's killed, right? And you're able to gain EP as well in the game. But I feel like the bounds to press circle to pull off an execution is a little bit tight and a little bit small, and there's times where there's a lot of enemies on screen and you really want to execute a person, but you just can't, because the just overall like reading to pull that off is just really, really limited and really small. Like, you basically got to be on top of the enemy to do it. So I think that that could use a little tweaking overall, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I got used to it, but you know, I think that could have been tweaked as well. But alongside your 3 weapons, you also have 4 different equipment pieces that you can use that are tied to EP bars. So they're very, very limited in use and everything. And I found one of them to be pretty wild. Okay, so you have regular things like carrot juice, which is for healing, which definitely makes sense. A rocket launcher, which definitely makes sense as well. It does a lot of damage. It mostly one hit kills the weak weaker enemies as a whole. But then you have this baton, right? And this baton is used for parrying. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to tie parrying to an EP bar that is very, very limited in the game, on top of you having to equip the baton to even parry in a game that is focused on, you know, pretty intense combat. I don't think that was a good idea, right? Like, in my eyes, I think that, you know, the parry in a game is as essential as like a dash in a game or like a block in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that parrying should be a core function in the game that you can do as many times as you want, whenever you want, right? So I think that the parrying system was kind of weird in this game. I did not like how, you know, I basically didn't use it because I would have rather saved those EP bars for when I need health or when I need to one-shot rocket launcher someone rather than having to just parry someone. Like, I just think that that whole thing was definitely not a good choice overall. But overall, you know, the game isn't that difficult, so it's not like I really needed to parry as a whole. Like, it's not a very, very hard game. I will say that at the very end of the game, the last two bosses, they definitely ramp up the difficulty, but man, those are really fun to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were very, very difficult. It took me essentially a whole day of play to beat those last two bosses, to beat the game, but I gotta say, they were mad fun. I definitely love those boss fights, but they are extremely difficult. Just you know, guys, be prepared. Okay, be prepared. The like 90% of the game is not that hard, pretty run of the mill, pretty easy, but then you get to the last two bosses and that's where they really test you. Now, how I got, you know, over 11 minutes in this video and didn't talk about platforming is beyond me, but the platforming is overall pretty good in my opinion. There are some momentum based moves as well that you get later on in the game, like with your drill, you're able to go faster underwater, as well as your whip, you're able to hit your whip on these like blue floating things, and you're able to essentially get some verticality by flinging yourself with the whip and those blue machines, right? So this is very much similar to things that we've seen in other games before, like Ori and the Messenger and all that, where, you know, you have these different mechanics and everything, and I feel that those games do it a little bit better than in Fist Forged Shadow Torch, right? Like, I feel like, you know, sometimes I have a little less control than I'd like to have in Fist when I'm doing these similar moves than I have in other games as well, where I just feel like I just, you know, feel a little bit floaty sometimes in this game, but it's not like it's of huge detriment. Like, you're still able to do all the platforming that the game asks of you, but it just feels a little bit, you know, loose, a little bit floaty sometimes, and like I feel like I'm less precise than other games as well. But that's just a little minor gripe. It's not like it's unplayable or, you know, unplatformable, if that's a word, you know what I'm saying. You're still able to do whatever the game wants you to do, but what I'm saying is that other games have asked the same thing of you and they have executed on it better than this game. So I say for $30, Fist Forged and Shadow Torch is a great pickup overall. It's a neat little game that doesn't overcomplicate itself by having too many abilities or weapons, but allows you to learn and understand said weapons and abilities to a mastery level. Beating the last bosses felt so satisfying in my opinion, and it's because I feel that the game limited itself to scale within the scope of the game as a whole. So I feel like they did a really good job at making sure that you don't have like a crazy amount of weapons or a crazy amount of abilities in this smaller scale game. That way you can feel a sense of mastery overall when you're in those later end phases of the game and everything. And I think that is a really good choice in my opinion. Its story is nothing crazy, but it's serviceable and allows the gameplay to really shine in its slow, methodical, yet satisfying ways. The game will bring you to many beautiful areas, and even in the late areas, throwing cool new moves to pull off. I definitely recommend Fist, even at $30 if you're looking for something to play in the meantime until the fall games hit. But for me, it's no game of the year contender. It's just a really good time at an attractive price that doesn't overstay its welcome. And so overall, you know, guys, I really had a lot of fun with this game. It was a cool, I think I beat the game in like 21 or 22 hours. So, you know, I definitely, you know, nothing crazy small of a game, but, you know, still a, you know, little small scale game in terms of overall scope and everything. And I think that you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of Fist Forge and Shadow Torch if you pick it up. If you stumbled across this video and already played the game, what are your thoughts on the game? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know those thoughts down below in that comment section. But before you go, check out the description. You can find links to our Discord, our Twitter, and our Anchor link. That way you can check up with our Road 2 series. Of course, we got Road 2 Forbidden West coming up as the next first party game on PlayStation 5, and of course all other aspects of the channel as well. Definitely check out those. Really appreciate the love and support. If you enjoyed this video and if you enjoyed the channel, feel free to leave a like on the video as well as hit subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.